Okay, friends, moving on to lesson 18 in our math workbook. You're tearing out 385 and you're just going to put it underneath your workbook for now. So then that takes us to page 387. We're solving two-step word problems using the four operations: adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. So are we going to have to read through the problems carefully to really decide what it is we're going to have to do to solve it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are. So, looking at this, it says, in this lesson, you will learn how to solve two-step word problems using any of the four operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Use what you know to try to solve the problem below. All right. Excuse me. Read this problem with me. The Shirt Shack has 438 t-shirts at the end of the day. Then they receive a delivery of new shirts in which the shirts come in four different colors: green, gray, orange, purple. There are 8 shirts of each color. How many t-shirts does the store have now? We were given a lot of information there, weren't we? All right, so it told us we were going to be doing two-step problems. So we're going to have to figure out what's our first step going to be. We know that they have 438 shirts at the end of the day, but that's not really how many they end up with, right? Because they get a shipment or a delivery of shirts. So for right now, we need to know that. What else do we need to know? Do we need to know some information about the delivery? Raylyn? There's 4 colors. There's green, gray, orange, and purple. What about each one of those shirt colors, though? What else did we find out about that? About those 4 shirts? Or those 4 shirt colors, excuse me. Connor?
And there's 8 of them in each color.
So there's 8 green, there's 8 gray, there's 8 orange, there's 8 purple. What are we doing there? If I say I have these 4, there's 8 here, 8 here, 8 here, 8 here. What are we doing there? Are we adding those? Are we subtracting? Are we multiplying or dividing? What do we do there? Amy?
We multiply 4 and 8.
Do you agree with Amy? I do too. So of these, excuse me, of these 4 shirts, there's 8 of each of those colors. So she's saying 4 times 8. So now we have to figure out how many shirts were in that delivery that they made. Do you know what 4 times 8 is? Split that 8 in half. Do you know what 4 times 4 is? What's 4 times 4 for those of you that don't know what 4 times 8 is? Split that in half. What's 4 times 4? 16. So now if you have 16 and 16, how many shirts are there?
32.
32. Okay, so there's 32 shirts that were delivered. Are we done with this problem?
No.
No. We have another step we have to do. It says, how many t-shirts does the store have now? How many did they have?
400.
And then there were how many delivered?
32.
So what are we going to do with 438 and 32? Lucas? Do you agree with Lucas? I do. So let's say 438. And we're going to add that 32. Friends, is it important to line up my numbers correctly?
Yes.
Definitely. So figure out, how many shirts does the store have now? Everybody has the same sum on that. So you had said that 8 plus 2 is,
10.
I had to regroup there. 3 plus 3 is,
6.
plus 1 more.
7.
Anything to add to 4?
No.
Nope, so I'm just going to bring it down. That is exactly what all of you had. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Okay. So how many t-shirts does the store have now? 470 t-shirts. Kiss your brain. All right. I'm going to X out of this because you all were already a step ahead of me. And let's take a look at that next page. It says, explain how you found how many t-shirts the store has now. We're going to talk about it. What did we do first? What was the very first thing we had to do when we were solving that problem that gave us all that different information? Jenny, nice and loud.
Multiply 4 and 8.
We multiplied 4 and 8, the number of shirts that were delivered. After we did that, what did we do next? Haley, nice and loud.
We added 438 and 32.
Right. We added the number of shirts that the store had at the end of their day, plus the number of shirts that came in the delivery. And then that gave us our total of 470. Okay. So we talked about it. We're not going to write it down. Sound like a plan? Let's look at problem 2. Woo, sorry about that. I'm going to make it a little smaller so it all fits there. Is that all of it? Yes. Okay. So it says you can use equations to solve two-step word problems. You can use an equation for each step or combine both steps into one equation. So look at this example here. A store has 45 hats. They sell 20 hats. The rest of the hats sit on 5 shelves with the same number of hats on each shelf. How many hats are on each shelf? So we have to start off. Let's go back to the beginning of that. How many hats does the store have?
45.
Let's jot that down. So they have 45. How many do they sell?
20.
So 45 minus 20 equals L. That means the number of hats left. So is that our first step that we need to do? Okay, so it's easier for me to do addition and subtraction when it's lined up like that. You go ahead and solve that and find the answer to L here. Did you get it?
Yes.
What's 5 minus nothing?
5.
What's 4 minus 2?
2.
So how many hats are left?
25.
Okay, we're not done with this problem yet though, are we? We've only solved half of it. So now, how many hats are left?
25.
Let's put that down here. There's 25 hats left. Divided by how many shelves are there? 5 equals H. We have to figure out how many hats are on each shelf. Do you know what 25 divided by 5 is? If not, work backwards. 5 times what equals 25? Times what equals 25? Write it down. So 25 divided by 5 equals 5, right? Because it's like saying 5 times 5 equals 25. All right. Now, look at part B. They're going to have us do this a little bit differently. How many hats were there to start with? What did we say from the problem?
45.
There's 45. And how many did they sell?
49.
Divided by the number of shelves. How many shelves are there? 5. Okay, look at this. They put it all as one equation, right? 45 minus 20 divided by 5. Did they put some work in parentheses? And do you remember what parentheses tell us we have to do in a math equation? When we're getting ready to solve it, what do those parentheses mean, Amy?
Means we have to solve them before we do the other problem.
Exactly. So if we solve in the parentheses first, we already know that 45 minus 20 is 25 divided by 5 equals, what did we say it equaled?
5.
Now, is this really very much different than doing it this way? No. It is the same. It's just a different way of organizing the problem, a different way of writing it all out. So there was the way to do it in A or the way to do it in B. Do you like one of the ways better than the other way? Okay, so that's probably the way that you would want to solve problems, whichever way you prefer. All right, let's look at 3. No. We're going to skip that too. I'm trying to go through things quicker because we still have a whole nother math workbook that we need to try to get information through before the end of the school year. So we're going to kind of go through the word problem parts quickly. Let's look at 2 at the bottom of this page, okay? Let's look at 2 on page 389. Read the problem with me. A store has 40 suits. They sell 16 suits. The rest of the suits are hung on 4 racks with the same number of suits on each rack. How many suits are on each rack? Well, what's the first thing we have to do? What's the first piece of work we've got to take care of in this problem? Show me on your paper. This is just like the hat problem that we just did, wasn't it? Or isn't it? except it's different numbers. Okay, I am seeing a lot of you doing this. So you're saying that there's 40 suits and they sold 16 of them, which means they got rid of them, right? They're not there anymore. So we have to subtract that, don't we? Do I have to regroup, or can I take 6 away from nothing?
You have to regroup.
I do have to regroup. So that leaves me with 3 there, and now I have 10 there. If I have 10 and I take 6 away, I'm left with 4. 3, take 1 away, I have 2. Okay, so there's how many suits left? 24. Now, those 24 suits are hung on 4 racks. What are we going to do there? So I have 24. They're hung on 4 racks. So pretending like this is a rack, this is a rack, that's a rack, and that one's a rack. How many suits are hung here? How many suits are hung there on this rack and on this rack? What do I need to do? I'm taking a bigger number and it's getting smaller, isn't it? So am I subtracting or am I dividing? Yeah, I'm dividing it because I'm putting them into equal groups. So what exactly am I dividing? 24 divided by 4. So think about it. 4 times what equals 24? You need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. How many are in each group when I split that 24 up? Could you do that if you still needed to? Yeah, if that's going to help you solve the problem, friends, I want you to do whatever strategies will help you be successful solving these problems. So how many are on each rack, everybody?
6.
There are 6 suits on each rack. All right. Okay, let's look at 3. 3 and 4 go together. All right, so 3. Chanel has 356 beads. Then she receives a package with more beads in which the beads come in 6 different colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. There are 9 beads of each color. How many beads does Chanel have now? What are we going to have to do first here? This is like the t-shirt thing from the t-shirt store. Holy cow. That's super noisy. Hopefully that's not a woodpecker inside the school.
What is that?
I don't know.
It would be way quicker.
All right, so what are we going to do here first? They want to know how many beads she has now. So in all, right? All together. But we don't know how many beads she has in her new package yet. So do we need to find that information first? I don't know. What do you think? How many do you think you have an idea of what we need to do first? Stand up. You guys aren't looking very awake. Stand up. Walk around. High five 3 different people. 3 different people. Get those brains engaged. Get them woke up. Stop. The person you are closest to right now is going to be who you're going to work with. Okay? So, that person or group of people in the one case there, I'm going to have you solve problem 3 together. Think of what the very first step is, though, and then think about what that second step is going to be. Should, class?
Yes.
Should one person be doing all the work?
No.
Definitely not. We are in this together. You're working as a team. All right? Okay, you and that partner, go find a spot, or the group, go find a spot to solve problem 3.